We practiced those 12 clues quite a bit. Alhamdulillah, we also added some attached pronouns and translated those pages too. So I think we're pretty solid on the present tense clues and how the attached pronouns work. I'm going to start today with a little bit of brain work for you. Today's job is fairly easy, but it does require some little bit, tiny bit of memorization on your part. So I'm going to write this for you first. An, lan, likay, idhan, hatta. I would like you to say that for me. An, lan, likay, idhan, hatta. Okay, I'm going to write that if you're having a hard time reading it. An, lan, likay, idhan, and hatta. Okay, just for those of you that have a hard time. Okay, an, lan, likay, idhan, hatta. Again. Please out loud for me 5 times. An, lan, likay, idhan, hatta. 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 Okay, who would like to try from memory? Yes, Amjad?
An, lan, likay, adhan,
Idhan.
hatta.
Good job. An, lan, likay, idhan, hatta. This side, yes? Right?
Yes, you.
Now it is you. He picked you.
An, lan, likay, idhan, hatta.
Okay. An, lan, likay, idhan, hatta. Very good. Very good. Everybody together? An, lan, likay, idhan, hatta. Okay. Not so hard. Not so hard. An, lan, likay, idhan, hatta. All right. And to finish this off, actually, before I give you this one, why don't you say it to each other for a minute? I just really want you to know this well. Go ahead. An, lan, likay. Come on. Okay, let's hear it together. Come on. An, lan, likay, idhan, hatta. That group of words, actually I want to type them over again, so you can help me type them over again. What's the first word I should say? An, then lan, then what? Likay, then idhan, and hatta. Yeah? Hatta. These are called the light harf. They're called the light harf. They're not really called the light harf. I call them the light harf in this course for you. If you try to Google that, you're not going to find anything. Okay? I made that up just to make things easier for you. Okay? I was going to say huruf nasibatul mudari', but why? Light harf. Let's keep it light. Okay? An, lan, likay, idhan, hatta are the light harf. Okay. Then there's another group, and this is the only other group. In, lam, lamma, li. 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 Some of you will be so inspired. I'll meet with you 6 years later. Ustad, I named my first baby In, lam, lamma, li. 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 Okay, that's it. An, lan, likay, idhan, hatta. And who else? In, lam, lamma, li. Okay, I'm going to keep this in your head. Why don't you say it to each other a few times, just so it sits there. We'll come back to it in about 20 minutes when you forget it. Say it to each other. Okay. Now everybody, turn to page 39. 39. This is what I did not make you memorize. I told you alif beginning and noon beginning, I and we. Ya beginning means he. Ya with ani, both of them. Ya with una, they all. Ya with na, them ladies. Then 4 kinds of ta. Then 2 extras, right? That was my way of giving you the shortcuts. This is without the shortcuts. This is the full version. It's in the form of a chart. It follows the same order that you did before. Huwa, huma, hum. Hiya, huma, hunna. Anta, antuma, antum. Anti, antuma, antunna. Ana, nahnu. You can see that in the gray boxes. It's the same pronoun chart from page 18, isn't it? Now, when we did page 33, page 33 and 39 have a relationship with each other. So you need to know that. Page 33 and page 39 have a relationship with each other. What's page 33? All the past tenses. Huwa nasara, huma nasara, hum nasaru. Do this with me because you supposedly memorized this. Huwa nasara, huma nasara, hum nasaru. Hiya nasarat, huma nasarata, hunna nasarna, anta nasarta, antuma nasartuma, antum nasartum, anti nasarti, antuma nasartuma, antunna nasartunna, ana nasartu, nahnu nasarna. That is your answer key for looking at the endings and matching them to other past tenses. That's why you memorize it, so the answer key sits in your head. This is the equivalent of what you did there, but for which tense? Present tense. And in the present tense, we don't look at the ending. We look at what? Actually, first we look at the beginning, then we look at the ending. So it's 2 times the work. But the shortcuts make the job pretty easy. If you were memorizing this, you would say huwa yansuru, huma yansurani, hum yansuruna, like that. Huwa huma hum. Hiya tansuru, huma tansurani, hunna yansurna, anta tansuru, antuma tansurani, antum tansuruna, anti tansurina, antuma tansurani, antunna tansurna, ana ansuru, nahnu nansuru. That's just how, but we didn't do that. What did we do? A'u, nanu, and then what? 4 kinds of ya, 4 kinds of ta, 2 extra tas, goodbye, see you later, okay? One day, if you would like to speak Arabic and be able to, because you know, you can't I want to tell him he prays. You're like, ya beginning, no ending. Yusalli. By that time, salah is over. You want to get to that quickly, probably good to memorize this. When you want to get to that stage. Right now, that's not the need. But I want you to know something about this page. You notice the first word here is yansuru. You see that? What's underneath it? Tansuru. What's underneath that? Tansuru again. I'm going to skip this one. What's this? Ansuru. And this is nansuru. So if you go down, they all end with what sound? Yansuru, tansuru, tansuru again, skip one, ansuru, and over, nansuru. You see that? Okay. Now watch this. I'm going to go back up. I'm going to read these again. How do you read this right now? Yansuru. I'm going to read it yansura. Yansura. How do you think I'll read this one differently? Tansura. How do you think I'll read this? Tansura. Good. How am I going to read this? Ansura. And how am I going to read this? Nansura. You know what I just did? I made them light. This is for present tense. For present tense, you know what that's called? That's making it light. So the normal version is u, and the light version is what? Ah, at the end. Only for these few, because they end with u. That's the light version. You memorized some harf today. What did you memorize today? An. Do you remember? It was a long time ago. An, lan, likai, idhan, hatta. What did I call them? Light harf. And I just said, ansuru, what's the light version? Do you think there's a relationship between the light harf and what I just told you? If you see one of those, one of who? An, lan, likai, idhan, hatta. Then ansuru will become what? ansura. Yansuru will become what? So it's an ansura. Lan yansura. Right? Likay yansura. Hatta yansura. Idhan yansura. You made it light. You get it? So what do those words do? They make the word, or the present tense, light. They don't do anything to the past tense. The past tense, it's too late for that. It doesn't change at all. Even if you see an an, lan, likay, then hatta, if you see one of those guys before it, it makes no difference. Because the past tense doesn't have different weights. It doesn't have normal weight, light weight, etc. It's the present tense that has weights. Normal weight and then light weight. But there was another group of harf which was called what? You know what that means? That there are two different diet programs for the present tense. There's normal weight, there's light weight, and there's also what? Lightest weight. That's lightest weight. And why do you, I don't know, I haven't taught you how to make them lightest yet. I'll just show you one of them. Listen to me again. If you hear ansuru, ansuru, is that normal, light, or lightest? That's normal. Okay, that's normal. Okay. If I say ansura, that's light. Now listen. Ansur. Ansur. What did I do? What did I do though? What change did I make? I put a sukoon on it. Yeah, ansur. I stopped all sounds. I paused it. Okay? That's called the lightest version. What's that called? Lightest version. And when will you see the lightest version? When what's there? In, lam, lamma, li. Yeah? So 4 of them will make it lightest, and the other 6 will make it light. Okay, so let me show you something. We'll go further in a minute, but I want to show you something really cool. Let's do this. Okay. What were they again? The light harf? No, the light, not the lightest. The light. An, lan, likay, idhan, and hatta. And what were the lightest ones? In, lam, lamma, li. Okay. It's really cool. What does yansuru mean? Easy. Yansuru means he helps. Okay. Everybody understand that, yes? If I put an, how should I say it? An yansura. I should make it light. Yes? Lan. What should I say? Yansura. Likay. Yansura. Okay. Idhan. Yansura. Hatta. Yansura. With me? Okay, let's try in. In lam lamali. Remember? 4. What do? Do they make it light or lightest? What's the lightest version of yansuru? Yansur. Okay. Lam. Yansur. Lamma. Yansur. And li. Yansur. Now, I'm not going to tell you what they all mean yet, but I want to show you how powerful these few harf are and how much they broaden your understanding of the Arabic language. These few harf are almost like architectural pillars of the Arabic language when it comes to fi'l. They're that important. An yansura means that he helps. That he helps. For example, I know that he helps. Okay? I think that he helps. I want that he help. That would be an yansura. Lan yansura means he shall not help. Don't translate yet, just listen to me. Likay yansura means so that he helps. Idhan yansura means in that case he will help. Isn't that complex language? In that case he shall help. But just because you know idhan, you could do that now. Hatta yansura means until he helps. In yansur means if he helps. If he helps. Lam yansur means he didn't help. Actually makes the meaning past tense, negative. He didn't help. Lamma yansur, he hasn't helped yet. And li yansur, he should help. My God, that's a lot of different vocabulary with just what? Help. Only if you know these few words. An, lan, likay, idhan, hatta, which are the light harf. And what are the lightest harf? In, lam, lamma, li. Okay? So the meanings over time. And it's not hundreds of words. It's like 11 words. It's not that hard. And once you get used to one of them over and over again, second one over and over again, you'll be good. Okay? Now, let's go back. I just want to see if so far, the oral exercise makes sense to you. Is this the normal version, light version, or the lightest version? This is the normal version. Yan suru. Light version would be good. What harf could be there to push it to the light version? An, lan, likay, idhan, hatta. Okay, what's the lightest version of this? Yansur. Yansur. What harf could be there that push it to the lightest version? In, lam, lamma, li. Okay, so what do you think this is? Normal, light, or lightest? Normal. What's the light version of it? Yali. Okay. What's the lightest version of this? قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ Allahu Samad. Lam. Wait. Lam. Is that... What group? What group is lam? It's part of the lightest group? In, lam, lamma, li. Lam should do what to the next word? So what happened to yalidu? It became yalid. Walam. You haven't heard the next word yet, but you know how it's going to end. Lam, you, led. Walam, yakun. Lahu kufuwan ahad. You see what just happened? Okay? So these words, slowly problem solving. I know you, lam. We met on page 40 something. Okay? Light harf and lightest harf. Okay? So in a place in the Quran, I won't put haraka. You're going to tell me the haraka. وَقَالُوا لَن يَدْخُلْ I don't know. Normal ending, يَدْخُلُ. Light ending, يَدْخُلَ. Lightest ending, يَدْخُل. You guess what the Quran is going to say when it gets to this word. يَدْخُلَ. Why? What group is this from? An, lan, likay, idhan, hatta. Which means this is from which group? Light group. That's why this is going to be lan yadkhula. Okay? Okay, another place in the Quran. وَلَمَّا يَدْخُلْ الْإِيمَانُ فِي قُلُوبِكُمْ يَدْخُلُ. Three options, multiple choice question. يَدْخُلُ, يَدْخُلَ, or يَدْخُل. Three options. Which one is correct? Why? Lightest. Okay, يَدْخُلُ means he enters. يَدْخُلُ means what? Yeah, يَدْخُلُ الْمَسْجِدَ. يَدْخُلُ الْمَسْجِدَ. What does that mean? He enters the masjid. He enters the masjid. يَدْخُلُ Makkah. He enters Makkah. Lamma means not yet. Lamma means what? Not yet. What does lamma yadkhul mean? He hasn't entered yet. He hasn't entered yet. Okay. Here's a word. Yaliju. Yaliju means another word for entering. Okay? And or passing through. Yaliju actually means he passes through. The Quran says, hatta, and I'm not going to tell you what the haraka is. You're going to tell me what the haraka is. If it was normal, it would be yaliju. If it was light, it would be yalija. If it's lightest, it would be yalij. Which one am I going to hear in the Quran? Why? Light harf. An lan likay idhan. حتى يلج الجمل في سم الخياط. This is in the Quran, just like you heard it. حتى يلج. Okay. قل يا أيها الكافرون لا. Normal, light, or lightest? Light. Normal. I'm getting lots of opinions now. The normal version of أعبد is what? أعبد. The light version would be أعبد. By the way, do not confuse this with normal or heavy and light from ism. That was a different universe. We left that behind. That only works when we're talking about isms. We're not talking about isms. This discussion is only limited to the present tense. I don't even say it's a fi'l discussion because there's different kinds of fi'l. Which fi'l? Present tense only. There's no other place where we discuss this. Okay? So, a'budu is normal. What's the light version? A'buda. What's the lightest version? A'bud. Why is it normal? My question is, why is it normal? There's a la before it. La is not on the hit list. La is not a light gang member. La is not a lightest gang member. If you're not part of any gang, you're not forcing any, you're not doing any enforcement, leave the guy normal, which is what? La a'budu. La a'budu. What about if I read that, if I wrote that? Lam a'budu, lam a'buda, or lam a'bud? Good job, you're getting it. Some harf make the present tense light. Some harf make the present tense lightest. Yeah? Light and lightest. Okay, now let's go back to light. What were the light harf again? Okay. An, lan, likay. Sorry, let me write over. My typing is a little off today. An, lan, likay, idhan, hatta. Okay, let me see if you can remember this from this exercise. You'll read, it's in the notes sitting there, you can read it, but I want you to see if you can do a memory exercise with me. An means two things. It means that. It also means to. T-O, to. That or to. Okay, that's an. So if I say an yansura, I can translate it two ways. I can translate it as that he helps. That he helps. It could also mean to help. Just because you don't say to he helps. Then the he doesn't make sense in English anymore. So you can translate an yansura as what? To help. You with me? Okay. Lan means will not. Lan means what? So what does lan yansura mean? He will not help. He will not help. Okay. How do I say that he helps? That he helps. And what? Yansuru, yansura, yansur, what? And yansura. To help. How do I say that? Still, and yansura. How do I say he will not help? Lan yansura. Good. Likay means so that. Likay means so that. How do I say so that he helps? Likay yansuru, right? Likay yansuru. Why not likay yansuru? Because yansuru would be normal. Likay wants it to be. So we don't say likay yansuru, we say likay yansura. And what does that mean? So that he helps. Cool. Idhan yansura. Idhan means in that case. Idhan means in that case. How do I say in that case he helps? Idhan yansura. Until he helps, hatta yansura. Let's go over that again. An means what? To or that. What does lan mean? Will not. What does likay mean? So that. What does idhan mean? In that case. And what does hatta mean? Until. Okay, so let's say, I say, u'allimu. U'allimu means I teach. U'allimu means what? I teach. I want to say that I teach. That I teach. Would anybody like to volunteer? Be ready. Naim Raifi, be ready. She'd like to try. That I teach. Let's hear it.
An alimu.
Ooh, no.
No.
No. Hold on. Let me read some Quran over you. Read that again.
Yeah. U'allimu.
And what did you first say?
Alimu.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry about that.
I forgive you.
Thank you.
Okay. But now say the answer again.
An u'allimu ma.
Now say it again.
An u'allima.
That's what that is. Good job. Okay. That's what you get for that answer. Okay. An u'allima. I will not teach. I will not teach. Go ahead. Yeah. Oh no, next to Hassan. Yes. Why are you turning the mic off and giving it to them? I saw you turn it off and give it to him. You like trolling people, huh? Stop doing it.
It will be lan u'allima.
Lan u'allima. Lan u'allima. I will not teach. Until I teach. Until I teach. Wait, there's first row. 9.
Ta u'allima.
Hatta u'allima. Very good. Hatta u'allima. So that I teach. So that I teach. Hassan?
لكي أعلم.
Good job. In that case, I'll teach. In that case, I'll teach. Yes. Way back there. Okay, you don't even need a mic. إذن أعلم. Good job. إذن أعلم. Here's one more. Lady side. I do not teach. I do not teach. I teach. No. Yes, go ahead. Say it.
لا أعلم.
Good job. La u'allimu. Very good. La just means, that's at least one Arabic word you guys do know. Sometimes you go to Umrah, and because some of you people, we're all brown, okay? There's a brown continent. So even as you get into the Africas, there's lots of brown people. And some of you people, you can be Bangladeshi, you can be Pakistani, you could be Sri Lankan, but sometimes you look Arab. Also, you look Arab because you love wearing thobes. I don't know what your deal is, but you love wearing thobes when you go there because you want to feel Arab. So some guy starts talking to you in Arabic. He comes up to you, and what do? What's the only word you know? La. Okay. So I don't teach. La. La u'allimu. La u'allimu. Actually, people don't say la. People just say alhamdulillah. 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 And the guy's like, hey, you hit my car. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. Where's the hotel? Alhamdulillah. Yeah. Saad, yeah?
Likai has 3 forms.
Wait, I didn't teach you that yet. Don't read the book and ask me questions about what I didn't teach. Lamma u'allim. Wait, no. I said something. I said, Lamma u'allim. Lamma means not yet. So what did I just say? I didn't teach yet. And this is a light harf or lightest harf? How do I end this then? Lamma u'allim. لما أعلمه. I didn't teach it yet. فلا تسألني. Don't ask me yet. لا بعد. Okay. Now, you remember what an means? To or that. What does len mean? Will not. Len, will not. لكي, so that. إذن, حتى, until. Now let me tell you something about likay. Okay, likay means what again? Okay, it's made up of 2 parts, li and kay. It's made up of 2 parts, li and what? Okay, here's the cool thing about Arabic. You can say likay, which means so that. You can take each part and it still means so that. So you could say li also means so that. Kay also means so that. And you could say likay and it also means so that. It's like Lego pieces, and you can use either piece or both pieces together. Li or kay or likay. And I didn't make you say li, kay, likay. I just made you say what? Likay, which means you can break it up. You can use li or you can use kay. Okay? You can use either one. But if you use just li, what does it mean? So that. If you use kay, what does it mean? So in the Quran, you find Musa alayhi salam talking to Allah, and he says, sorry, kathiran. Let me make that smaller. Okay, read that for me. Kay nusabbihaka kathiran. Okay, now look at nusabbihaka. Is there an attached pronoun? We should ignore that. We should ignore the ka. We should look at nusabbiha. Who does tasbih? We do. Noon beginning, yeah? Who do we declare perfection of? Ka. We declare your perfection. Now look at kay. Kay is actually from what original word? Likay. It's just a short version of likay is kay. Okay? What should kay do to a word? You should make it light. If you want to see that it's light, you should be able to tell me what the normal version was. Nusabbihu was the normal version. Kay made it so that we declare your perfection a lot. Kathiran. Yes, question back there? I did say that, yes. Li kay can be broken up into li and kay. I didn't even think about that for 20 years. I said li kay can be broken up into li and kay, and this is part of the light gang, isn't it? But then there is in, lam, lamma, and this is part of the. So there are two different gang members that are identical twins. Which two gang members? Li could belong to light, or now the question is, how am I going to know? Ya Allah, how will I know? Oh, I know. If it makes the word light, it's lightly. And if it makes the word lightest, it's Bruce Lee. How will you know? A little bit of grammar, and what you're going to know. Did it make the word light or did it make the word? Okay. If I say, this is in the Quran, one of them at least. By the way, the li that is light, what does it mean? You already know what it means. The li that is light is short for likay. What does likay mean? Good. The li that is lightest means should. It means what? Should. What does the light one mean? So that. What does the lightest one mean? Okay. Yaghfiru means he forgives. Yaghfiru means he forgives. Are these two the same meaning? Liyaghfira. What does that mean? So that he forgives. What about liyaghfir? He should forgive. Cool. Yeah. There's another li, which is a harf of jar li. Bata kaf, lam. How will we do? What are we going to do now? Oh wait, lam. That's a harf of what? He's part of the jar gang. And he needs what after him? It needs an ism to make jar. So since yaghfira is not an ism, and yaghfir is not an ism, I won't be confused. Hey bro, are you lam of jar? And yaghfira will look at you like, what do I look like to you? Okay, be in the present. Okay, li will come with an ism. Yeah, there's 7 kinds of lam, by the way. This is 3. There's 7 kinds of lam in Arabic. Yep. There's lots of kinds of wow. There's 7 kinds of lam. They learn to share. This is why in the Arab world, sometimes in Sudan, some countries, you can have 8 kids. They're all named Muhammad. It was part of the language. 7 kinds of lam. 8 different Muhammads in the same family. Abdullah. Everybody's Ahmad. Everybody's Ahmad. If you go into a mall and say Ahmad, the customer, the cashier, the store manager, oh, like, what? So, but you have to recognize them, each with their own job and their own role. Okay, anyway. Now, let's go over that again. One last time. An means to or that. Len means will not. What's next? Likay, which can be said in three ways. You can say likay, or you can say li, or you can say, okay? That means so that. Idhan, in that case, and hatta means until. And when you see these, what happens to the present tense that follows? It becomes light. Great. Okay. Now, we have in means if. In means what? If. Which is weird because fi means in. In is if and fi is in. In if fi in. Okay? It's weird. It just is. I find it cool. But anyway, in means if. What does it do to the present tense? So if the word was still yaghfiru, which means he forgives. How do I say if he forgives? In yaghfir. In yaghfir. This is as I go, I try to tell you where students make the most mistakes, right? Because I keep telling you, here's the pitfall, you're going to run right into it. So I'm going to tell you this one. Do you remember what group this belongs to? Light or lightest? And do you remember what this group this belongs to? Anyone remember what len means? Will not, which means future, isn't it? So it takes the present tense and pushes it into the future. Lam does the opposite. It actually means did not, and it pushes the meaning into the past. This is future light, and this is past. And what does it do? Lightest. Okay? Lam and len. Very similar words, opposite effect. They're both negative. How do I say he will not forgive? He will not forgive. Len. It's the original word is yaghfiru. Lan yaghfira. Lan yaghfira. He did not forgive. Lam yagh. Good job. Lam yaghfir. Lam yaghfir. Yasjudu means he does sajda. He does sajda. He will not do sajda. Lan yasjuda. He did not do sajda. Lam yasjud. Lam yasjud. We're getting it. Okay. He will not ask for forgiveness. Yastaghfiru. He asks for forgiveness. Yastaghfiru. He will not ask for forgiveness. Lan yastaghfira. He did not ask for forgiveness. Lam yastaghfir. Okay? So in means what? If. Lam means did not. Lamma means not yet. Lamma means not yet. Okay? So what does lamma yasjud mean? He didn't do sajda yet. Okay? To do umrah is ya'tamir. Ya'tamiru. Lamma na'tamir. What does this mean? Ya'tamiru means he does umrah. Lamma na'tamir. We haven't done umrah yet. Lamma na'tamir. How do I say I haven't done umrah yet? Lamma a'tamiru. Yeah? A'tamiru. I say the wrong answer like this a lot. A'tamiru. And you're like, Lamma a'tamir. Lamma a'tamir. He hasn't done umrah yet. Lamma ya'tamir. Anta. You haven't done umrah yet. You begins with ta. So anta, lamma ta'tamir. Lamma ta'tamir. Ant. Okay? You didn't do umrah yet? Okay. So we got one left. In means what again? If. Lam means didn't. Lamma means not yet. And li means should. Should. Okay? Now I'm going to tell you some extra things about li. Last time, what did I tell you about li kay in the last group? 3 ways to say it. Li or kay or li kay. Li is weird. The should is weird. In Arabic, wa means and. Fa means so. Yeah? And what is li? This li, you know what does it mean? It should, right? But if you want to put them together, and someone should do something, and should, the wa and the li would go together, right? But they don't say wali, they say wal. They don't say wali, they say what? Wal. And they don't say fali, they say what? Fal. If you see wal or fal in the Quran, wal or what? Fal, then chances are that lam is the lightest gang member. It's only acting weird because there's a wa before it or a fa before it. That's when it starts acting weird, and it doesn't pronounce li, it pronounces wal or fal. You may have heard this before. وَعَلَى اللَّهِ فَلْيَتَوَكَّلْ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ. We're going to figure this out together. What does fal mean? It's two words together. What two words together? So and should. So when we finally translate, we'll throw in the word so and we'll throw in the word should when we figure out what this means. Yatawakkalu means to trust. Yatawakkalu means to trust or to rely on somebody. Okay? So, yatawakkalu, he relies. Fal yatawakkal, so he should rely. Now, tell me about the word he or huwa. When you see a huwa on a fi'il, is there a chance there's an outside doer? There's a chance? How do you determine if there's an outside doer? It's after and it's rafa'. That's an outside doer. Is al-mu'minuna after? Is al-mu'minuna rafa'? Mu'minuna means believers, yes? Believers. I don't think it means then he should rely. Not they. The believers should rely. And then in the beginning it says, ala Allah. Ala means upon. Ala Allahi. So the believers should rely exclusively upon Allah. Ala Allahi falyatawakkal al-mu'minun. And yes, wow should be and. Good catch. And upon Allah alone should the believers rely. Again, li becomes what? Fal. Okay. Let me show you something really awesome. Surah Al-Fath. One of my favorite surahs in the Quran. Inna is harf of nasab and nahnu together. Certainly we. Huwa fataha, huma fataha, hum fatahu, hiya fatahat, huma fatahata. I'm doing this so alone. Hunna fatahna anta, fatahta antuma, fatahtuma antum, fatahtum anti, fatahti antuma, fatahtuma antunna, ana, fatahtu, nahnu. Oh, nahnu. We opened. Laka, la means for. Ka, I don't know what ka means, I forgot. We opened up for you. Fathan mubina, an open victory. Li yaghfira. My question is this li a harf of jar? Is this li a lightest gang member? Is this li a light gang member? By the way, depending on which gang, different translation, isn't it? Not all lambs have the same meaning. Okay, it's the light gang member. And the light member has what meaning? We have given you victory so that yaghfira. Not you ask for forgiveness. Yaghfiru means he forgives. So who forgives? So he forgives. Right now it says so he forgives. When you see he, should you try to look for an outside doer? Maybe you find one, maybe you don't, but you should at least look. Do you see one? Where? The word Allah. The word Allah. So that Allah forgives. So that Allah forgives. Laka. Forgives for you actually means forgives you. The lam doesn't get translated now. So that Allah forgives you or covers for you. Now watch this. Normal, light, or lightest? Yutimma. Difference of opinion. Normal ending, yutimmu. Light ending, yutimma. So what is this? This is light. Okay. Yahdiya. Yahdiya. Light. Okay. Yansura. Light. Okay. So we saw liyaghfira, wa yutimma, wa yahdiya, wa yansura. Light. What word makes these light? There's a group that makes them light. Which group was that? An, lan, likay, idhan, hatta. Let's go back to liyaghfira. Which of those members made liyaghfira light? Once you have a light word, you can put the word and make the next word light, and 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 they keep going light. And you know what that tells you? That all of them haven't understood so that going along with them. So that Allah forgives. I know that so that is connected to the word forgiveness. When it says yutimma and He completes His favor, it's not He completes His favor. What does it actually mean? So that He completes His favor. Why do I know it means so that? Because it's light being affected by the original li. Then it's not He guides. This is actually not He guides. This is what? So that He guides. It's still going on from the same li. And then He says, yansuru. Yansuru means He helps. But this is not He helps. This is what? So that He helps. And how do I know this is not a new sentence? It's still part of that. How do I know that? Because of the yansura. It's light. Otherwise it would have been yansuru. Okay? So this is actually the way the Quran connects concepts together. And you can tell, oh, it's the same conversation. It's not a new discussion. Because the same effect is being carried forward. Okay? لِيَغْفِرَ وَيُتِمَّ وَيَهْدِيَ وَيَنْصُرَ. Okay? Really cool. Okay, now let's get back to page 39. Normal version. Say it for me. Good. Light version. Yansura. Lightest version. Good. Normal version. Light version. Tansura. Lightest version. Good. Normal version. Light version. Lightest version. You're getting used to this. Good. Normal version. Light version. Lightest version. Good. Normal version. Light version. Lightest version. Okay. Alrighty. I'm still on page 39, in case you're wondering. Where am I now? Yansurani? That's the second column on your page 39. Normal version. Yansurani. Let me help you out here. Light version, get rid of the noon. Yansura. What version is that? Light version. Lightest version, yansura. Once you got rid of the noon, it could be light and it could be lightest. It's okay. You can't keep killing more letters. Okay? I'll come again, yes. So yansurani is normal. Light version, lightest version, yansura. Okay? No. Lightest, yeah. Let me help you again. If this was yansuru, then light version, yansura. Lightest version, yansur. So if it ends with an u, then the light version is a, and the lightest version is sukun. Okay. If it ends with a combination, is this a combination? Ani? When it's a combination, the light version just means get rid of the what? The extra noon. Yansura. And now that you got rid of the noon, sorry, the light version and the lightest version look the same. The light version is yansura and the lightest version is also yansura. Yes. Depends on what harf came before. What's the meaning? How is the meaning going to be changed? What was making them light? What was making them lightest? That will change the meaning. Okay, so the meaning is not coming from here. The meaning is coming from, is it an yansura, that both of them help? Or lan yansura, both of them will not help? Or lamma yansura, both of them haven't helped yet? Isn't that the meaning changing? But the meaning is not changing from these words. The meaning is changing from the harf. Okay, that's how the meaning changes. The problem comes with the li. It's okay. If you come up to a word and it's got a li and then it's light and you're like, which one is this, light or heavy? Just call me. Just call me and say, I don't know what to do here. Help me out. Okay. Until that happens, live your life. Okay. Yansuruna. Normal version. Normal version is what? Yansuruna. That page 39 is all the normal versions. What's the light version? Yansuru. And they write an alif there at the end to make you feel better and also to remind you that this is a fi'il. This is a normal standard thing to do with fi'il. When the noon is gone, they write an alif there at the end. So that's not read yansuruwa. It's still yansuru. The lightest version, ladies and gentlemen, no change, yansuru. Sorry, yansuru. Same thing. Only context, common sense, and lots of dua will tell if it's light or lightest. This is where your connection to God will be tested. Okay? Yeah. Question.
Assalamu alaikum again.
Alaikum salam.
Today, what I feel, all those years I was reading Quran wrongly.
Why do you feel that? I don't want you to feel that.
Because the lam mean one thing and lam mean one thing, and all those grammatically, basically, I make the mistake. That is in my conscious say.
Okay.
What happened that people who continuously reading wrong, because when I was studying Quran is Ali Be, they say. So I was reading that formula had changed when I came to Dallas. But
yeah, Dallas is a holy city, you're right.
So all those days we read Quran, that mean Allah hopefully forgive us or?
Okay. Thank you for your question. I do want to keep the conversation about Arabic, but since you asked that question, I don't want anybody to live in guilt. Allah did not give us this religion to make us feel like remorse over the past. The Quran, one of the great functions of the Quran, the purpose of the Quran, Allah says, إِنَّ فِي ذَلِكَ لَذِكْرَى لِمَنْ كَانَ لَهُ قَلْبٌ. It is a powerful reminder for someone who has a heart. So anything related to the heart, the most comprehensive answers for how your heart should feel is in the Quran. And in the Quran, if someone has lived a life of sin, or a life of forgetfulness, or a life of mistakes, or a life of neglect, etc., does Allah say you should now feel guilty until you die for how you have lived? Does the Quran ever do that? The Quran is more protective of, Allah is more protective of His creation's heart than even the creation themselves. Allah cares more about my heart than I do about my own heart. You understand that concept? So if Allah does not shame or guilt me about my past mistakes or neglect, all He asks is do one thing. What's that one thing? Make tawbah and then fix yourself. Make tawbah and fix yourself. And then you might slip again. And if you slip again, what should you do again? Make tawbah and fix yourself. And if you can do that, you don't have to live in what? Guilt or shame. You don't have to live in guilt or shame. You know? And what we've done is we've created a mindset, and I'll tell you where this comes from. Allah forgives easily. Allah is actually eager to forgive. But people don't forgive easily. If you hurt your mother's feelings, even if she hugs you, something is still hurting her in her heart. She's not capable of letting go of some of that pain. Yaqub alayhi salam is not capable of easily just letting go of the years of abuse his sons did to him. You understand? They can make tawbah. And by the way, who can forgive his sons immediately? Allah can. Wipe the slate clean. But who cannot forgive immediately? Yaqub alayhi salam. He can't do it. He can't just do it. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam in one narration couldn't look at Wahshi. He accepted Islam. What do we know about accepting Islam? What happens to all your sins? They get wiped out. Wiped out by who? By Allah. In fact, accepting Islam is a kind of tawbah. And tawbah means all your bad deeds get converted into good deeds. That's how much Allah loves. فَأُولَٰئِكَ يُبَدِّلُ اللَّهُ سَيِّئَاتِهِمْ حَسَنَاتٍ. Allah replaces their evil deeds with good ones. That's Qur'an's promise. But the Prophet ﷺ is still a human being. And he sees the one who mutilated his uncle. Right? So he can't see. It's not that he doesn't forgive him, but he can't forgive him the way Allah forgives him. Now what happens with us coming to 2024, 2023, and this era that we live in and we're heading towards, what happens now is people use Islam because we make each other feel bad anyway. Okay, I can make you feel bad for coming late, or I can make an employee feel bad for making a mistake, or I can make a family member feel bad, or they can make me feel bad, or you never call, you never do this, you never do that. We guilt each other all the time. But now we've done a new thing. We use Islam to guilt each other. It wasn't enough that we're guilting each other. Now we add in, Allah doesn't forgive when you do this, right? Allah does that, right? Allah. So now we're using Allah to make sure someone stays inside their guilt. Now we use God as a weapon, basically, to guilt and shame someone. What does the Quran do? Make tawbah and move on with your life. What do people do? I will not let you move on with your life. You don't get to move on with your life. You have to stay exactly where you were. Know your place. It's as if Allah wants one istighfar, show of humility, and move on, and human beings want constant sajda. Human beings almost I want you to worship me to the point where you keep begging for forgiveness, and then I'm going to say, your sorry is not good enough for me. Your sorry is not. God doesn't even demand that. Can you imagine if we had to beg Allah for forgiveness for everything we've done and it wouldn't be good enough? Can you imagine? Then it wouldn't even be right for us to ever get up from sajda. Never be even to get up from it. So the guilt you're feeling is actually not just you. There's a cultural, anthropological, collective guilt society that we've created. And in that society, you're supposed to live feeling bad about yourself. You're supposed to live in shame. You're supposed to live in regret constantly. Do we regret our mistakes? Absolutely. Should we turn and try to make things right? Absolutely. Should we make istighfar? Absolutely. But then we should move on. We just move on. Musa alayhi salam's story is one of my favorites because he actually accidentally killed someone, but he did throw a punch. How do you get over that? How do you get over that? And you know what? When he goes to challenge Musa, challenge Fir'aun, when he goes to challenge Fir'aun, Fir'aun could just turn around and say, you're going to tell me what's right and wrong? You know what you did? Who are you to open your mouth? A murderer is going to teach, a murderer is a prophet now? Really? You have no moral standing to be able to say what's right and wrong because you have a mistake in your past. Isn't that the logic? Guess whose logic that is? Fir'aun's. It's very powerful. It works. Because then someone says, look, I have mistakes. I shouldn't say anything. And then people turn that into a righteous thing. I have so many sins myself. I have so many mistakes myself. Who am I to say anything about anything? I should just be quiet. And then anybody who's done any good should be quiet because they're aware of their flaws. So that nobody should speak the truth. Because is there anybody who exists that doesn't have sins? So if sins are the basis for which I shouldn't say anything or you shouldn't say anything, then we should just be perpetually silent. Yes?
When we wrong someone else, we ask Allah to forgive us and Allah forgives us. But what if, my understanding was that person has to forgive us so we're not accountable for it in the
Thank
end.
you. Good question. Even though this is Arabic class, I'm going to do this really quickly. This is on express lane. Allah forgives whoever He wants. Rasulullah ﷺ was injured in Uhud. Listen to this carefully. Don't forget it. He was injured at what? Uhud. he was injured in his face in 3 different places, and the arrow or the spears actually penetrated through the helmet into his jaw. Okay? Several of his teeth were gone, and he had to be patched up with mud so the bleeding would stop. When he fell to the ground, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, Umar bin al-Khattab thought he was dead. He was gone. And Umar bin al-Khattab lost it. He just sat on the battlefield. According to one narration, he just sat there. What's the point now? Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam comes back to consciousness. In one narration, he gets up to consciousness and says, كَيْفَ يَهْدِ اللَّهُ قَوْمًا. How can Allah guide a people that spill the blood of their messenger? Okay? How can Allah guide a people who spill the blood of His messenger? Allah immediately revealed ayat after Uhud. One of those ayat, listen carefully. لَيْسَ لَكَ مِنَ الْأَمْرِ شَيْءٌ. You have no authority whatsoever. Talking to the Prophet ﷺ. أَوْ يَتُوبَ عَلَيْهِمْ أَوْ يُعَذِّبَهُم. Whether He wants to accept their tawbah or He wants to punish them, فَإِنَّهُمْ ظَالِمُونَ. Then they are, in fact they have done great wrong. فَلِلَّهِ مَا فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَمَا فِي الْأَرْضِ. Allah owns whatever He has, whatever's in the skies, whatever's in the earth. يَغْفِرُ لِمَن يَشَاءُ. He forgives whoever He wants. يُعَذِّبُ مَن يَشَاءُ. He punishes whoever He wants. وَاللَّهُ غَفُورٌ رَحِيمٌ. And Allah is extremely forgiving, loving and merciful. What have we done? I haven't forgiven you, so I know Allah won't forgive you. Because until I forgive you, I know Allah won't forgive you. Don't point at anybody. Please don't. When you do that, what are you negating? And what do you think is going to happen on Judgment Day when nobody can speak? You're going to be like, excuse me, Allah, you're about to forgive this person, but I haven't forgiven them yet. So can you let them at least one weekend in the barbecue before, because I have an issue. You think you're going to be concerned about raising an issue about somebody else? And do you think that on Judgment Day, somebody will feel like, I don't know how he got away. I'm still mad. How can they get away? And some people live in the anxiety that someone who has done them wrong might be forgiven on Judgment Day because they've changed. They have this anxiety. This person changed, but I didn't forgive them. So why is Allah? It's not fair. Allah's going to forgive them. They got away with it. That, even to the Prophet of Allah, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Allah told the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you're a slave, act like it. Be a slave. Forgiveness and punishment is not yours. It's whose? It's Allah's. Stop thinking you have a say in it for anyone else. Let it go, because that's part of being a what? Being a slave. Their matter is with who? فَأَمْرُهُ إِلَى اللَّهِ. His matter is with Allah. It's not your problem. Because you yourself and I myself are slaves of Allah, and so are they. If they've done wrong to me, firstly, if they've done wrong to me, they've first done wrong to Allah. Because Allah told them not to do wrong to me. So they haven't, before someone commits a crime against me, they've already committed a crime against Allah. And Allah is way more offended than I am. And Allah is way more just than I am. So instead of me thinking, I'm going to teach Allah how justice is going to work on Judgment Day, which by the way, Allah asked this question in the Quran, قُلْ أَتُعَلِّمُونَ اللَّهَ بِدِينِكُمْ. Tell them, are you going to teach Allah your religion? You want to teach Allah how justice should work? This like anxiety of making sure someone pays takes us so far, we start questioning the wisdom and the justice of Allah, and we stop forgetting that we're slaves of Allah, honestly. Honestly, it's scary to me. To me, it can be rooted in pain. I get it. You were wronged. I was wronged. It's rooted in pain. But you cannot allow that pain to turn you into a pharaoh. You cannot allow that pain to project some kind of authority on Judgment Day. That is too far. Don't do it to yourself. That'll destroy you spiritually. It'll just destroy you. Whether Allah forgives them or not, Allah knows their deal better than you and me. I know one thing, Allah will never be unfair to me. Allah even says, يَشْفِي صُدُورَ قَوْمٍ مُؤْمِنِينَ. Allah will heal the hearts of a believing people. Is that enough for me to hear? Allah will heal the hearts? Yeah. But you're like, I don't want my heart healed. I like this pain. And I enjoy this. No, some people do. They do. They're addicted to the pain. And they're like, I want to feel the sensation of getting revenge. I'm waiting for that high. I need it. Guess who needs to see someone else suffer? Who has that need? Who's the first one who needs to see someone suffer? Iblis, where do you think that need comes from to see someone suffer? You know, Shaitan has caused so much more suffering than any one of us could. A human being can only do so much wrong. Shaitan has been doing wrong since age old, right? So my desire to see Shaitan suffer should be stronger than my desire to see anyone else suffer. But I never make dua, Ya Allah, throw him in Jahannam, do this to him. I just say, Ya Allah, protect me from his evil. That's it. That's all I say. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Why? Because who's going to deal with him? That's Allah. I'm not going to stand over Jahannam and say, Ya Allah, burn him good. Yeah, right there. Yeah, that spot. That he cried extra on that spot. Where did you get this from? This insatiable thirst for revenge and exacting pain on someone else. You know, justice is, we should want justice. It's a human nature to want justice. But you just have to rely on, first of all, if there's worldly means to seek justice, do it. And if there's no worldly means to seek justice, then amruhu ilallah. Allah is more just than I can ever be. No, I'm not discussing this. I'm teaching Arabic class. I still remember it's an Arabic class. And now you forgot everything about Arabic class, so I'm going to see if you remember. What's the light version of yansuruna? Yansuru. And what's the lightest version of yansuruna? Here's the crazy part. Yansurna is those women, if you remember. Ya beginning and na ending means those women. What part of this makes them women? The na. So when you make them light, the ladies say, no, we don't need a diet plan. We're perfectly fine the way we are. And what's the lightest version? It's still the same way as it is. The ladies, when they get together, weird stuff happens in Arabic grammar. So everything else has a normal version, a light version, a lightest version. But them ladies have, their normal looks the same as light, which looks the same as lightest. They look exactly the same. No change. No change. Yansurna. So if you see an before yansurna, it's going to be an yansurna. If you see lam, lightest harf, before yansurna, it's still going to be what? Lam yansurna. All good. No change. With this in mind, before the break for the prayer, I want you to look at this chart all together. This is the whole view. Yansuru, light version. Tell me. Yansura, lightest version. Yansur, good. That's one. Yansurani, light version. Yansura, lightest version. Yansura also. Yansuruna, light version. Good. Yansuru, lightest version. Yansuru, good. The light and the lightest are the same. Second row. Tansuru, 3 versions now. Tansuru is normal. What's the light version? Tansura, lightest version. Tansur. Tansurani, light version. Tansura, lightest version. Careful now. Yansurna, don't mess with them ladies. So what happens? Light version, Yansurna, lightest version, Yansurna. Good job. Tansuru, normal version is Tansuru, light version, Tansura, lightest version, Tansur. Tansurani, light and lightest, what are they? Tansura, Tansura. Tansuruna, light and lightest. Tansuru, Tansuru. Tansurina, that's just one girl. Is that enough for them rallying and not letting the noon go? It's not enough. So what's the light version? Tansuri, and the lightest version is also Tansuri. Just get rid of the noon. Tansurani, light version. Lightest version. Tansurna, light version. Tansurna, lightest version. So I want you to put a little X in Yansurna and Tansurna so you don't forget that. They don't get changed. And then the last two, Ansuru, light version. Ansura, lightest version. Ansur. Nansuru, light version. Nansura, lightest version. Nansur. Okay. Let's see. Okay, let me go back up. Let me give you this practice a little bit. This is page what again? Let me see. This would be 41, I believe. Yeah, 41 on top. It says tadhakkaruna, right? Ta beginning, una ending. My question is this normal, light, or lightest? This is lightly normal. Huh? Normal. Can you convert it to a light version? Tadhakkaru. What's the lightest version? And why would it be light? What could possibly make it light? Either what's in the beginning to make it light? An, lan, likay, idhan, hatta. What would make it lightest? In, lam, lamma, li. Okay. Let's see if you can solve this ayah. In, I don't know if I should say yansuru, yansura, or yansur. This is in Ali Imran. Huh? Good. In yansur. Does you remembers what is means is? What does in mean? In is is. In is if? Okay. In yansur. If he helps. If he helps who? If he helps y'all, because it's he, is it possible we have an outside doer? Who's the outside doer this time? How do you translate this? If Allah helps you all, فَلَا غَالِبَ لَكُمْ, then there is no one to help. There's no one to dominate you. No one could possibly dominate you. إِن يَنصُرْكُمُ اللَّهُ فَلَا غَالِبَ لَكُمْ وَإِن يَخْذُلْكُمْ, and if he were to abandon you, and if he were to leave you behind, and if he were to humiliate you, فَمَنْ ذَا الَّذِي يَنصُرُكُم مِّن بَعْدِهِ, then who's going to be aiding you after him? وَعَلَى اللَّهِ فَلْيَتَوَكَّلِ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ. Fal, what does fal mean? So and should together. Okay. Couple of minutes left before we take our break. Name a surah. Short surah that you might know. Don't say Baqarah. Huh? Teen? Okay. Teen. I'll start with where the present tense is because we just practiced the present tense. There it is. يُكَذِّبُكَ. What should I get rid of first? What's left? Good. Maybe there's an outside doer. Oh no, there's not an outside doer. You can't handle this yet. I shouldn't have given you this. There's no outside doer. But why? Ba'du looks rafa. It's not. It's a fake rafa. There's such a thing as a fake rafa. You'll learn about that later. It happens rarely. It just, you happen to find the surah. You picked the surah. It's your fault. فَمَا يُكَذِّبُكَ بَعْدُ بِالدِّينِ. Let me just go back to the beginning. It's easier. What teeny? Do you know anything about wow? No, the other one. Ba, ta, kaf, lam. What does wow do? What does it do to the next word? Did it jarrafy over here? Was zaytuni? What turi? Turi is light. Turi is light. And sinina is a non-Arab word. Sinina is a non-Arab word, which is a mudaf ilayh. The mountain of Sinin. Non-Arab words, the Rafa version is U, the Nasab version is A, and the Jar version is also A. That's why it's Sinina, because it's non-Arab. Yeah? Yeah, they mean and. So what it means is, I swear by the fig and the olive and Mount Sinai. I swear by. And then the others are included in the oath. So it's as if he's saying, I swear by the oath, I swear by the fig, and I swear by the olive, and I swear by Mount Sinai, and I swear by, oh, what's hadha al-baladi? Do you know this grammar? Hadha al-baladi? What kind of word is hadha? It's a pointer, isn't it? And how do you know if it's making a fragment? How do you know if it has a musharun ilayh? What do you look for? Is there al-balad have an al? Totally. And what's the status of al-baladi? Why is it jar? No, hadha is not a mudaf. You know where this jar comes from? Wa makes at-tini jar. I swear by the fig. And the olive is also jar because it's connected to the first one. And Mount Sinai is connected to the first one. And this, the word this is jar. When the word this is jar, the musharun ilayh also becomes jar. So, and I swear by this city. Al-amini is also jar, isn't it? What's the relationship between al-baladi and al-amini? Mawsuf and same four properties. Al-baladi, al-amini. 4 oaths that Allah has taken, and these are some of the most powerful oaths in the Quran. If you've heard me talk about them before, one of the most fascinating places in the Quran. Allah swears by the fig and the olive and Mount Sinai in this city. It looks like He swore about 2 foods and 2 locations. Fig and olive are foods, and then Mount Sinai and this city are locations. Mount Sinai, of course, referring to the place where the Torah was revealed, and this city referring to Makkah where the Quran was revealed, right? But the fig and the olive, Imam Alusi does a really good job with this, describing that the fig is actually referring to the valley of Hamdan and Halwan, where the Ark of Noah landed. And that valley was filled with figs. And so in Arabic literature, when something has a lot of something, it just gets called that. I came from the fig means I came from the valley of figs. Okay? So it's actually also referring to a location by way of what it's associated with. A zaytun is olive. And if you know anything about biblical literature, Jesus spoke on the Mount of Olives, or Mount Olive. Okay? So this is referring to Jerusalem. Okay? So the Ark of Noah, Jerusalem, Mount Sinai, and Makkah. Okay? Now there are 5 messengers who had more commitment than anyone else, according to Allah. They had the greatest commitment. That was Nuh alayhi salam, Ibrahim alayhi salam, Musa alayhi salam, Isa alayhi salam, and Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. In a teen, we get Nuh. In a zaytun, we get Isa. In Turi Sinin, who do we get? Musa. And in this city, we get both Ibrahim and Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam. So in these 5, we get a reference to all 5 prophets. And Allah is swearing by these places, because you know what trigger memory is? When you walk by a place, you remember what happened there. By referring to a place, He's not just referring to those prophets, but He's referring to their entire story. And their story is not just about them, it's about the people who about themselves, about the people who believed in them and struggled alongside them, and it's also about the people who opposed them. That entire story can be captured by just one word, which is at-tin, and another one, az-zaytun, and then Mount Sinai is where he receives the revelation, challenges the Pharaoh, comes back and deals with the hypocrisy of the Israelites. Allow me to finish my thought because it will break. And then this city, which is the struggles of Ibrahim alayhi salam, the trials of Ibrahim alayhi salam, and then the advent of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and his struggle with the Quraysh and the Kuffar and all of it. And then Allah says, now that I have called upon in your mind, I've sworn by these places and these stories, these entire legacies, the point of bringing that to your attention, because the oath brings something to your attention, so you're ready for what He's about to say. He says He created the human being in the best possible form. And these stories have evidence to what that is. These prophets themselves are evidence of how great human beings can be. Their followers are evidence to how great human beings can be. Their good legacy, the good people who followed them, are evidence to how great human beings can be. But it's not just those who followed them, it's also those who opposed them, and those who violated their legacy down the road, changed their religion and resorted to hypocrisy and made a mockery of the deen and all of that, right? So He says, ثُمَّ رَدَدْنَاهُ أَسْفَلَ سَافِلِينَ. Then we reduced them to the lowest of the low. We radadna, by the way, radadna like nasarna. Radadna, who we reduced him. We reduced him. Asfala safilin is mudaf mudaf ilayh. The lowest of the low. Right? So this is actually just in a few odes, he captures some of the most remarkable episodes in human history and then summarizes these episodes prove human beings can be the best of the best, and it also proves they can be the worst of the worst. One ayah about the best of the best and one ayah about the worst of the worst. But the question is, who's the majority? Is the best of the best the majority or the worst of the worst the majority? So you would think logically, after mentioning this, the worst of the worst should be first because they come in larger number, and the best of the best should be second. And the worst of the worst kind of make the angel's point true. The angel said, you're going to put someone on the earth who's going to spill blood? Who's going to kill? Didn't they say that? And the majority has proven the angels right on many accounts. And Allah says, I know something you don't know. Inni a'lamu ma la ta'lamun. And what Allah says He knows that they don't know is a reference to the few who believed and did good. The few who believed and did good is enough justification for Allah to keep the world going. Our existence is justified in these ayat by good people, by the prophets and their true followers. May Allah make us of them. Because if it wasn't for them, then everything the angel said is 100% true. Are you going to put someone here who spills blood, causes corruption? Is that true? Yeah. Then why create him? They said, why create him? Allah says, no, but there's something that's so much more powerful than all that corruption. And what is that? The few who believe. And you know what? Muslims don't understand that. You know what they think? Why aren't we in the majority? When is Islam going to win? When's everybody going to become Muslim? Hold on. Allah didn't concern Himself with quantity. What did He concern Himself with? This entire story of humanity was about quality over quantity. This is what it was. The entire philosophy of Islam is in short surahs. SubhanAllah. Okay, adhan's been given. Let's go take a break. Assalamu alaikum. Yeah. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Oh, they're not here. Can somebody find Sister Alina? Because I can't start the broadcast without her being on the. started and, okay. We can start. Bismillah wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. We have only 1 hour and we have an hour and a half's worth of work. So I'm going to try to do as much as I can, inshallah, today because I don't want to put too much pressure on tomorrow. I want to actually hopefully finish, if not all of the grammar work, the vast majority of it today. And then, inshallah, tomorrow we do our review and future steps and the plan and how you're going to move forward, inshallah. I'll lay that out for you so that you have clarity of what you're doing after. What I want you to note is some pages, page 45, and then followed by page 47. 45 and 47 are really important because they are good practice with the answers on light and lightest. Okay, they're light and lightest. So here, like for example, on 45, the first example is an yadriba. You see that? An yadriba. So an makes it light. That's why it's not yadribu, it's yadriba. And an means that or to. So if you look at the translation, Allah is not timid to present any example. An yadriba, to present. In Allah, certainly Allah, ya'muru, He commands. Ya'muru, He commands. Kum, all of you. An, what does an mean? To or that. Now look, tadhbahu, this word, tadhbahu, if you focus on it, it's a ta beginning, and I'm going to say it's a ta beginning and an una ending. It's a ta beginning and una ending. And why isn't it the una anymore? What happened to the noon? It got lightened because of the an. So it still means the same thing. Ta'una means all of you. It still means all of you. It's just a light version of all of you. So Allah commands you that, that, all of you slaughter. All of you slaughter. And what should you slaughter? A cow. Baqarah. Okay? The only way you knew that the noon is gone is because the alif is there trying to tell you, yes. The an was the first giveaway, I should look for something light. Right? And then the u, you know, oh, u is the light version of una. So those two things just came together and you're like, oh, okay, problem solved. Okay? Huh? How do you know it's they and not you? Okay, good. Ya beginning and una ending means they. 4 kinds of ya yesterday, right? And ta beginning and una ending means all of you. So if this was yadhbahu, that would have been that they slaughter. But if it's tadhbahu, it's that you all slaughter. You with me? Don't worry about those. You follow my 12 shortcuts. I know the chart says tansurani, but it's not a big deal right now at all. It'll get solved in time. Lan nushrika. What did lan mean? Do you remember lan? Huh? Will not. This reminds me of a story, but I don't have time. Okay, I'm going to tell you the story anyway. So when I used to run the campus full time, the first campus we had was in Irving. It was an office building, and students were coming in full time. I was torturing them with Arabic 6 hours a day, 6 days a week for 10 months. So it was about almost a bachelor's degree worth of Arabic in 10 months, and it was painful. And the first year I started the program, I was the teacher, I was the one checking the homeworks, I was the one making the exams, I was the one counseling students for their depression, because I feel like I get it, but I don't really get it. I don't know what to do. That's never a brother, by the way. Because the brother, you know what? Even if you don't get it, what do you say? I know I got a 20 on the test, but I get it. And the sisters, she gets 100 on the test. I know I got 100, but I feel like I don't get it. Can you pass on some of your germs this way and use some of your relaxation? You could get a 20 and say, I know it looks bad, but I totally get it. I so get it. Two different. لَيْسَ الذَّكَرُ كَالْأُنْثَى. Allah says the male is not like the female. I saw that when I was teaching. 100%. Anyway, one of the modules in the program, it would take me about 6 months to teach, or 5 months to teach all of the grammar and Quranic Arabic. Then it was time to speak Arabic. And there was no English allowed on campus the last 4 months. Everybody's just speaking Arabic, and you're just in an Arabic-only environment. And in the beginning, of course, there's going to be mess-ups. So in one of the breaks, I had a pool table, so the students would play pool. And one of the breaks, I was playing pool by myself, or there was a student playing pool by themselves. I walked by, and he wanted to say, would you like to participate with me? Would you like to play along with me? And the way you say that in Arabic is هل لك أن تشارك معي. تشارك. Musharaka means participation. So هل لك أن تشارك معي means would you like to participate with me? So he thought he was saying it correctly. He said, يا أستاذ هل لك أن تشرك معي? Would you like to do shirk with me? So I said, أبدا لا, no, never, لا أريد. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. He goes, come on, Ustad, just 5 minutes. Anyway, what does len mean? Will not. Nushrika, who will not do shirk? Noon beginning, right? We will not do shirk. Nushriku, normal. Len made it light. Okay, can you guess what it's going to be if I say, we did not do shirk? We did not do shirk. Do you remember the word for did not? Okay, fine, you remember the word, but do you remember its effect? What does it do? Does it lighten the word or does it make it lightest? So, lam nushrik. Lam nushrik. Lan nushrika. Okay? We did kay nusabbihaka already. Liyakuna. Liyakuna. What do you think the li does? And there's two kinds of li. The lightest li or the light li. I need to know which one this is. This is the light li. And what does the light li mean? So that. The lightest one means should. So we shouldn't translate this as should. Yakun means becomes. He becomes. What is liyakuna? So that he becomes. So that he becomes. Hatta yaqula ar-rasulu. What does hatta mean? Does anybody remember? Okay, what happened to yaqulu that shows that hatta had an effect? It was going to be yaqulu. It became yaqula. Now yaqula means he says. What does hatta yaqula mean? Until he says. Now the word he, maybe there's an outside doer. Is ar-rasulu after and rafa? Which means no longer will we use he, we'll use ar-rasul. How do you translate this entire phrase? Until the messenger says, وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا مَعَهُ مَتَى نَصْرُ اللَّهِ أَلَا إِنَّ نَصْرَ اللَّهِ قَرِيبٌ. Okay, this is a hard one. لا تنكحوا, do not marry. We haven't done forbidding yet. We'll do that now. Al-mushrikati, don't marry mushrik women. Don't marry idolatrous women. Al-mushrikatu, al-mushrikati, al-mushrikati. Okay, the al makes the tanween go away, right? So don't marry mushrik women. Hatta, what does hatta mean? Okay, now this is, look at the screen and let me just show you what happened. Yu'minu, he believes. Yu'minu, okay? Huma would be yu'minani, both of them. Ya beginning, ani ending. Yu'minuna would be what? They believe. They believe. But if I say yu'minna, ya beginning, na ending, what would that mean? Them ladies, those women, okay? And the way to write that, because there's two noons, is yu'minna, like that. Because the two noons smushed together, it just becomes one. It's easier to write that way, so you see that here. And who is those women that he's talking about? The mushrikat. So don't marry the mushrikat until what happens? Until they believe. Until they believe. Now, yu'minna, the normal version is yu'minna. The light version is also yu'minna. And the lightest version is also yu'minna. That's why it stayed the way it is. Okay? Yansurna, yansurna, yansurna. Like that. Okay? Okay, so this is a little bit of light practice. And then the lightest practice on 47. Again, the answers are here this time. In tadarhum. In tadarhum. What effect did in have? Where's the lightest? Where do you see the evidence of the work of in? The sukoon on tadar. The normal would have been what? Tadaru. The light would have been tadara, and the lightest is tadar. You see the effect? Now what is hum doing there? What do you do when you find a pronoun like that? You ignore it. The ta beginning, what did you learn about the ta beginning? I'm going to say 7-Eleven. I hope something comes in your head when I say 7-Eleven. Other than, it could be you, it could be she. That is determined by what? How do you know? Okay, so I'm going to look, even without knowing too much Arabic, I'm going to look for a little bit of context. Yudillu ibada. Maybe the context is telling me that the ta is similar to the ka, which means this is what? Is it ka means she or ka means you? So that ta still probably means what? You. Yadharu means to leave. In tadhar, if you leave them, yudillu ibadaka, they will misguide your slaves. Meaning if you let them live. Nuh alayhi salam said, if you let these people live, they will misguide your slaves. The thing is, he said that. And then Allah included his son among those people. But he already said, if you leave them, he'll misguide your slaves. So, and he didn't realize that his son would be included in that. Then it hit him when he was drowning. It's a very powerful story. لم تجدوا كاتبا. So yajidu means he finds. Yes? Okay, yeah, I can explain that. Go to page 39 again. I can explain that again. I'll repeat the question for you guys watching online. The question is on why is it yansurna and tansurna are the same? Well, the simple answer to that is because the Arab said so, but I just want to show you why else. This is yansurna, means those women help. The part that gives it the meaning of women is na. They call it noon and niswa, the noon of women. Like nisa means women, right? So the noon represents women. If you get rid of that, this word won't have to do with women anymore. So you can't actually get rid of it because it changes the pronoun itself. So if you just, imagine if you got rid of the noon, what would you have left? Which is the same as he. So those women is gone altogether. The only thing making this word those women is the noon. So that's why it's not something you can compromise. Got it? And the other reason is because the Arab said so. Okay, I try to justify their behavior with these long-winded explanations, but the real reason is it's our language. What you going to do? What you are going to do? Okay, now if you go to page 48, this is our practice page. And I want to do 10 minutes of this practice before I give you your last lessons. Lam yaj'al. What do you think? Light or lightest? Good. Why? What does lam mean? Did not. You know what you could do for easy answers? You could put L for light and L plus for lightest. Okay? L for light and what? L plus for lightest, yeah? So lam yaj'al. Yaj'al means he made, or he makes, sorry, he makes. What does lam yaj'al mean? He didn't make. He did not make. Lam yaj'al. Lina'lama. Is this an L or an L plus? It's light. Na'lama means he knows. He knows. Who knows here? So translate the whole thing. So that we know. So that we know. Li means so that. Li kay or li kay means so that. So that we know. Very good. Okay, now if you've answered out loud, don't answer the next one out loud, so you give other people a chance. Tahsabuhum. Tahsabuhum. First, my first question is normal, light, or lightest? Tahsabuhum. First of all, even before then, there was a question you should have asked yourself. Is there... That's not the question. Is there an attached pronoun? Is there? So we're going to pretend what is not there. If it's not there, what do we have left? تحسبوا. Okay, is تحسبوا normal, light, or lightest? Normal. If it was light, it would have been, and if it was L plus, lightest, what would it be? تحسب. So yes, it's normal. وَلْيَتَلَطَّفْ وَلَا يُشْعِرَنَّ بِكُمْ أَحَدًا. Surah Al-Kahf. وَلْيَتَلَطَّفْ. Yatalattaf means be careful, be delicate, be subtle, be inconspicuous. وَلْيَتَلَطَّفْ. What is this? Is it L or L plus? Li has three versions. Li, kay, or likay, which means so that. What was the lightest group of harf? In, lam, lamma, and li. In, lam, lamma, li. And the thing with li was, if it comes with wa or fa, it doesn't, you don't say wali, you say what? Wal, and that gives away that it's from the lightest group. If you see wali, if you saw wali, that would be from the light group. If you see wal, it's from the lightest group. So what should happen to the last letter here? وَلْيَتَلَطَّفْ. So what does this mean? Who should be careful? He should be careful. Because, by the way, and he should be careful. And he should be careful. Where am I getting the and from? The wa. Where am I getting the should from? The lam, wal. Okay? And where am I getting the he from? And he should be careful. See, you're starting to decode Arabic. You're starting to see the pieces, yeah? An yasha Allahu. Normal, light, or lightest? Good. Based on what? First of all, and what job did the an do here? Had it been normal, it would have been yasha'u. It's light, so it becomes yasha'a. Okay? You guys understand what to do with this page? Okay? So now I'm going to change the subject a little bit, and I'm going to talk to you about common sense observations about commanding and forbidding. This is the last bit of grammar that I would like to teach you in this course, and then we can apply everything we've learned, inshallah. Okay, so common sense observations about commanding and forbidding. Number one, you can't command in the past. I cannot say to Hassan, wrote down yesterday. It's too late. You can't command in the past. You can only command in what? So I can't use the past tense for commands. It doesn't make sense. Okay? You can't command someone who isn't there. My daughter's not here. When I say, Hosna, get me water. I have a problem. I can only command someone who is there. You know what that means? I can't use huwa huma hum or hiya huma. So the first line says I can't use page 33. I can't use page 33. The second line says I can't use most of page 39. Why? Because the third person, you can't command them. The most you do is comment about them. Hosna should bring me water. Should, but I can't say do it or don't do it. You understand? Okay. The third is you can't command yourself. I mean, I've seen it happen. Like in university, the day before the midterm, there's some students sitting in the library, and they're looking at the textbook, and the textbook is looking at them, but nothing is passing through. And they're sitting there going, study, study, study. So they are talking to themselves, but under normal psychological circumstances, you can't command yourself. So who can you command then? You can only command you. The only one you can command is you. Go here means you. Go here. Write this, meaning who? You, write this. Stop, meaning what? You, stop. The only way you can command is with you. How many kinds of you are there? Anta? Antuma? Antum? Anti? Antuma? Antunna? There are 6 commands in Arabic because there are 6 yous in Arabic. Make sense? Because you can only command you. But now the fun begins. A command, it is easier to forbid than it is to command. If you're a parent, you already know this. It's easy to come up with a million things that a child should not do. Don't do this. Don't touch that. Don't poke him. Don't look at that. Why are you doing this? Why do you do this? What makes you do this? All the kids here are like, yeah, my parents say that. Did they tell you that? How many times have I told you not to do that? You still do it. Don't do it. Don't leave your brother's eyes in his socket. Leave them there. Why must you? Don't touch it, it's hot. I told you not to touch it, you still touch it. You know what? Go touch it again. Touch it again. That's Pakistani parenting, by the way. And do it. No. Aur karo. Maza aaya? You like that, right? You like it? Do it again. No. You want me to bring it to you? Don't. The problem is, the kid is like, don't do this, don't do that, don't burn this, don't stab that, don't cut this, don't. What do you want me to burn then? Can't burn anything. It is easier to what? Forbid than it is to. It's actually also true in grammar. The grammar of commanding is a little harder. The grammar of forbidding is actually pretty easy, as I'll teach you. And the last one, and the most interesting one, a command isn't always a command. What? A command isn't always a command. Let me start with this number 6 with you a little bit. Let's look at the word go. Sounds like a what? Command. When athletes are about to run for a sprint, and they're all lined up, and their hands are on the line, and then they hear the gunfire that commands them what? Are they commanded or allowed? Because they weren't allowed to move until you said go. Like, kids are sitting, I used to teach 3rd grade mathematics class, okay? And sometimes kids don't behave. And I was very lucky because I had 5th period. That means the next period is recess. So the one time they get prison break is 6th period. So I'm right before the prison break. So if they misbehave in my class, I would add 5 more minutes to their period. And when the bell rings and the gates of Jannah have been opened, they can't go, right? So now one time they misbehaved and I said, nope, nobody's leaving. And they see everybody else from their window, all the other kids, what are they doing? They've already walked into Jannah, they're smashing their faces into concrete, running into each other, elbowing each other in the face. Heaven, right? But they can't do it. And what's amazing about that is, if you take a child and you don't let them go on recess, the clock that goes, it slows down. And the other thing that happens is, the seats, you can have air conditioning and fans on and everything. The seat on which the child is sitting, the temperature of that seat keeps increasing. So they're like, it starts burning slowly. And they can't stay in it. And then finally, after seeing enough temperature rise, I say what? Go. Did I command them? So sometimes what looks, by the way, in grammar, this is called, in English grammar, this is called the imperative verb. The commanding verb, the imperative. But actually it's used not just for commanding, it's also used for what? Allowing. Permission. So it can be used for permission. So that's one. Okay, so it's not always a command. It could also be a what? Permission. That's one. Okay, let's take another context. One of the dearest people to me in the world is Imam Siraj Wahaj. Imam Siraj, I know him since before I could grow a beard. I used to go, when I was a weird, nerdy MSA kid, I used to take the train with my friends to his Masjid in Brooklyn, and we used to wait for him to show up for Maghrib prayer. And I say, Imam Siraj, we have club hours in our MSA on Thursday. Could you come be our speaker on Thursday? And he said, Nouman, for you, I'd do it. He was really sweet with me. So anyway, so he's been picking on me since I was little. So one time he's at a speech and he's doing a fundraiser. And I was in the audience, somewhere in the back. And he's all of a sudden, he's like, where's Nouman? That's how he pronounces my name. Where's Nouman? And I started sinking in my seat. I know you here, Nouman. I know you here. I can tell you here. And I was like, oh God. And my friends are like, go. They're using the same word. Go. I know what he's going to do. I go up on stage. He's going to grab my neck like this. He's going to be like, now, who wants $10,000? And I'm going to let him go. Okay, you know what? 20,000. I'm not letting you know. So I'm not going to move. I'm high. But my friends are saying what? Are they allowing me to go? Are they commanding me to go? They're encouraging me to go. So that's motivating. That's motivating. A friend of mine is like, I can't find a job, bro. I just can't do it. I don't know. There's no jobs. It's like, there's a job fair tomorrow. Yeah, but I can't find it. Just go, man. Go to the job fair. What am I doing to him? I'm suggesting, I'm advising. A command could be permission. A command could be what else? Suggestion. A command could be motivation. A command could also be sarcasm. One of you gentlemen decide that one of your friends has come over. Maybe you used to live in Chicago. May Allah forgive you. Or you used to live in New Jersey. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. And your friend from Chicago came over. And he's like, bro, let's go out. And you tell your wife, hey, my friend from Chicago's here. I'm going to go out, okay? And your wife says, oh, go. Go. No, go. Why are you even asking me? Go. Is that a command? Is that a permission? Is that encouragement? It's all of it. No, you're that confused. It's actually none of those. You're really bad at this. What is that? It could be sarcasm. It could be a threat. See what happens when you go. No, go ahead. No, go. Open that door. Open it. So the go could also be it could be a threat. It could be sarcasm. You understand? Could be a bunch of stuff. It's not always what? It's not always a command. Now here's the problem. You hear in a speech, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commands us something, we have to do it. Look, it's a command. And you're like, is it a command though? Because a command in language could be what? Could be permission, could be sarcasm, could be encouragement, could be motivation, and it could actually also be a command. A soldier, a general or a lieutenant tells his soldier, go. Is he giving him permission? Is he encouraging him? Is he advising him? Is he being sarcastic? Or is he issuing a command? Language is all about context. The grammar is the same. It's just go. But it's got a range of meaning depending on what? Context. Now let's take this up and apply this to what's happening in the Quran. Allah says, يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا إِذَا نُودِيَ لِلصَّلَاةِ مِنْ يَوْمِ الْجُمُعَةِ فَاسْعَوْا إِلَى ذِكْرِ اللَّهِ. Allah says, when the call is made on the day of Friday, rush to the remembrance of Allah. Then He says, وَذَرُوا, so rush to remembrance. Let me make that a little smaller. Okay, rush to remembrance. Then he says, and وَذَرُوا الْبَيْعِ, leave the sale. Then he says, ذَلِكُمْ خَيْرٌ لَكُمْ إِن كُنْتُمْ تَعْلَمُونَ فَإِذَا قُضِيَتِ الصَّلَاةُ فَانْتَشِرُوا فِي الْأَرْضِ. Spread, when the prayer is done, spread out in the land. وَابْتَغُوا مِنْ فَضْلِ اللَّهِ, pursue out of Allah's favor. And then he says, وَاذْكُرُوا اللَّهَ كَثِيرًا, remember Allah a lot. If I say, in English, rush, sounds like a command. Leave, sounds like a command. Spread out, sounds like a command. Pursue, sounds like a command. Remember, sounds like a... Now if historically there were people in Muslim history that looked at this, like the Zahiri school, that looked at this and said, if Allah is commanding, it can only mean a command. Yes? That means on Friday, rush to the remembrance of Allah is a what? Command. So if I'm walking like this to the masjid, I'm doing haram. Somebody needs to push me because فَاسْعَوْا إِلَىٰ ذِكْرِ اللَّهِ. If somebody stayed overnight at the masjid, they have to get kicked out so they can what? Rush back in. Because you didn't do the first command. You didn't rush. The second one means leave the... By the way, rushing to the... Is that actually a command? No, it's encouragement. It's encouragement. Listen, you should pray, but I'm encouraging you to get there early. Because the one who gets there earlier gets more reward, and then the later, and then the later, and then the later. You're being encouraged to rush. Show enthusiasm. Fine. فَاسْعَوْا. Leave the sale. This is so amazing. When it's Friday prayer time, do you have to leave the business? Is that a command? But Allah could have said, leave the business. Leave work. Would have made sense. Leave everything else. Would have made sense. He didn't say that. He used a specific word. What did he say? وَذَرُوا الْبَيْعِ, which literally means leave the sale. Okay, how many people here in business? Okay, the few of you that are in business. In business, there's accounting. There's payroll. Yes? There's security. There is all kinds of expenses. There's inventory. Yeah? There's all kinds of problems. There's taxes. Yeah? But there's one thing in business that makes all the problems worth it. Sale. You are putting up with the employees. You're giving the government their taxes. You're dealing with all kinds of issues and problems. And the one thing that makes it all worth it is because if there's no sale, there ain't no business. Sale. Okay, it's Jummah time. Jummah time, you're at your business. And you're doing the taxes. You go to Jummah early. You're writing the paychecks for your employees. It's Jummah time, I should go. You're sitting in the same business and a customer walks in and you haven't made a sale in a month and the customer walks in with the shopping cart and he's putting everything in the shopping cart. And it's getting late for Friday and he's putting even more things in the shopping cart. You're like, ho, 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 ho. If this was a time for you to be writing the paychecks or doing the electricity bill or doing the taxes, you would say, oh, rush to the remembrance of Allah. Jummah time. Okay, I'll do this afterwards. I'll talk to you later. But right now, who just walked in? The juiciest what? The juiciest customer walked in. You're like, okay, just... And you don't even want to rush the guy because, so you're like, no, the khatib usually starts late. Well, that guy gives such an annoying long adhan. His adhan is like 45 minutes long. It's okay, I'll be fine. And you decide to delay and not rush. What kept you from rushing? The sale. Allah says, وَذَرُوا الْبَيْعِ. He knows my psychology, He knows your psychology. And the sale isn't just about business. If you got an interview, you're going to sell yourself, aren't you? In an interview? And the interview callback came in right at Jummah time. Right at that time. وَذَرُوا الْبَيْعِ. Leave the sale. Leave the sale. Your boss calls you in to discuss a promotion opportunity. I have 5 minutes. You want to talk about your promotion opportunity? It's Jummah time. I could sell myself for the promotion opportunity or Jummah time. Allah says, وَذَرُوا الْبَيْعَ. This is not encouragement. This is what? Oh, this is a command. He's basically saying, doesn't matter how juicy the temptation is, go. Friday prayer, go. Doesn't matter how much the fish are swimming out of the water, like with the Jews before. Don't do that. Go. وَذَرُوا الْبَيْعَ. So he says, leave the sale. Then he says, when the prayer is done, فَإِذَا قُضِيَتِ الصَّلَاةِ, when prayer is done, spread out in the land. Spread out in the land. Is this a command? If this was a command, you would literally have to kick everybody out of the masjid. Oi, spread out in the land. فَانْتَشِرُوا فِي الْأَرْضِ. Why are you standing outside? Spread out in the land. Keep spreading. Not far enough. Can I come back now? No, spread out in the land. Is this a command or is this permission? It's permission. Then he says, and pursue from Allah's favor, meaning some of you will go study, some of you will go back to an exam, some of you will go back to a work meeting, some of you will go back to business, some of you will go work on your resume, some of you pursue out of the rizq that Allah has opened up for you. Go back to work, go do your thing on the rest of Friday. This is permission and also encouragement. Encouragement. Go. And then he gives you advice. What's the advice? By the way, when you're doing this worldly stuff, remember Allah a lot. No, it's not a command to remember Allah a lot. It is what? It's advice. So that you can succeed. Now, some people don't remember Allah a lot after the Jummah is done. Right after Jummah, they have a big lunch or they have a huge meeting and they're not doing dhikr in the meeting. They're discussing accounting in the meeting. They're discussing a business crisis in the meeting. But if you're a college student or a high school student and your exam is at 4 p.m., then you're remembering Allah a lot. Especially if you didn't study. Then you're the وَاذْكُرُوا اللَّهَ كَثِيرًا لَعَلَّكُمْ تُفْلِحُونَ. You had a question, Ayan? What's your question?
Oh yeah. Oh, what does permission mean in this context?
You may leave the masjid. Because the Israelites, before us, the Sharia of Musa alayhi salam, they were not allowed to leave the remembrance of Allah on all of Saturday. And Allah, by contrast, gave us the Friday prayer, making our burden lighter. And as soon as the prayer is done, you may go about. You may go about in the land. Okay? So that this is actually a permission. Okay? Yes.
Sarcastic in the Quran.
Yes. Is Allah ever sarcastic in the Quran? Yes, He is. Check this out. Look. Innaka anta al-aziz al-kareem, isn't it? A person is being thrown in the hellfire, an elite who used to use his money to finance campaigns against the Prophet, and he used to throw his money around to buy people to attack Islam. And he used to, just his money was his God. And Allah says, He's making him taste the fruit of hell from the tree of Zaqum and says, taste, you're the dignitary. Here's your hospitality. You're the dignitary that's so generous. Please have a taste. Dhuq, innaka anta al-azizul kareem. Is that a command? What is that? Well, that's sarcasm. That's sarcasm. It happens in the Quran. Sure. Sure. Yes. Is this a fiqh question? Because I'm allergic.
Just
Okay.
a follow-up to
The Jummah discussion?
Yes.
Okay, yes.
Is it the same for both men and women?
Oh, so it is a fiqh question.
Well, I was trying to make it
It was a nice
sound
try. It was a
simple.
nice try. I give you 75 points for trying. So anyway, on the day of judgment, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. No, I don't know. Ask a faqih. You have fuqaha in this masjid. Why? Arabic over here. Arabic. Fiqh over there. Okay. All right. So, now, can I use nasara to make a command? What tense is nasara? Past tense? Past tense. What was the first common sense observation I made you? You can't command in the past. That's gone. Yansuru means what? I can't use this. Why not? It's third person. What about ansuru or nansuru? You can't command yourself. Okay. What about anta tansuru? Ta beginning. Can I use this? Okay. Go to page 39 again. Look at rows number 3 and 4. I'm showing you on the screen. These are rows 3 and 4. Anta tansuru. Antuma what? Tansurani. Antum. Tansuruna. Anti. Tansurina. Antuma. Tansurani. Antunna. Tansurna. Ta beginning. Ta with ani. Ta with una. Ta with na. And then number 12 was ta with ina also. But these are all the yous, aren't they? These are all the yous. I'm going to show you how to say do not help. Forbid. Remember, it's easier to forbid than it is to command? So I'm going to show you how forbidding works. Just say la, followed by the lightest. Followed by the lightest. So let me just show you a comparison. La tansuru versus la tansur. Okay, read the first one. La tansuru, did I make it lightest or no? I kept it normal. Second one, la tansur, did I make it lightest? Yeah, I made it lightest. Which one of these is forbidding? Yeah, so the meaning is totally different. You do not help, full stop. So just a statement. And this one is, don't help. If you leave it normal, it's just a comment. If you make it lightest, it becomes forbidding. La tansur, don't help. You have to use la plus what? Not light, lightest, lightest. What do you think of this? Is it lightest? Don't do shirk. La tushrik. Don't disbelieve. How do I say it? La takfur. La takfur. If I said la tushriku, not he, ta means you. So you do not do shirk. That's just a comment. But la tushrik means what? Don't do shirk. La takfuru. What does la takfuru mean? You do not do kufr. Nice, good for you. You don't do kufr. But if I say, hey, don't do kufr, what would that be? La takfur. Okay. Taqrabani. Both of you come near. Taqrabani means both of you come near. How did I get the both of you? Can you tell me how I discovered both of you here? Ani is not enough. Ta means you. Ani makes it two. How do I say neither of you come near? I have to use la, but what else do I have to use? The lightest. What's the lightest version of ani? You get rid of the noon, don't you? Say it for me. La taqraba. What would that mean? What would that mean, la taqraba? Neither of you come near. La taqraba hadhihi shajarata fatakuna min al-zalimin. Don't either of you come near this tree, or you shall become from the wrongdoers. Who's Allah talking to? Adam and Hawa, our parents. La taqraba hadhihi shajara. Okay? Taquluna. Who says? Where did I get the you all from? Help me. Ta beginning means you. Una makes it? Okay. How do I say none of you say? None of you should say. La taqulu ra'ina. وقولوا انظرنا لا تقولوا لمن يقتل في سبيل الله أموات. Don't say about someone who got killed in the path of Allah, they're dead. لا تقولوا لا تقولوا لا تقولوا لمن ألقى إليكم السلام لست مؤمنا. Don't say about someone who even threw salam in your direction that they're not a believer. Don't do that. Don't judge somebody else's faith so long as they've given you what? Salam. لا تقولوا. Don't say. These are prohibitions. So how do you prohibit? La plus the lightest. Okay, now. But how do you command? Forbidding is easy. La plus lightest. Easy. Commanding, let's start with, I'll give you a few words. Tujahidu. Tata'allamu. And I'll say tu'allimu. And tasjudu. And tadribu. Let's try these. Okay, let me just tell you what these are. These are not commands right now. They are just present tense. Ta beginning means you. Ta beginning means what? Why am I using you right now? Because commands only work with you. There are 6 kinds of you. Anta, antuma, antum, anti, antuma, antunna. But for this exercise, I'm just using anta right now. These are all the anta version, ta beginning. Okay. Is the ending normal, light, or lightest for each of them? Tujahidu, tata'allamu, tu'allimu, tasjudu, tadribu. What are they? Okay, for commanding, write this down. Step 1, make it lightest. Step 1, make it lightest. So how am I going to do it? What do I turn tujahidu into to make it lightest? Tujahid. Tata'allam. Tu'allimu will become tu'allim. Tasjudu will become tasjud. Tadribu will become tadrib. That's step 1. That's not the whole thing. That's just step 1. Okay. Tujahidu means you struggle. You struggle. But I want to make it into what? Struggle. The command. What's step 1 again? Make it lightest. Step 2, get rid of the ta. Step 2 what? Get rid of the ta. Let me ask you, when you forbade, did you get rid of the ta? You only get rid of the ta when you do a command. So I'm going to start getting rid of the tas. Tujahid will become what? Jahid. Tata'allam will become what? Don't go killing all the tas now, just one. Ta'allam. Tu'allim will become what? Allim. Tasjud will become jud. And tadrib will become drib. Okay? Yes? Drib. This is a good dribble. Okay. Now, some of these words are readable and some of these words are not readable. Is jahid readable? That means you're done. That's a command. Struggle. Jahid means struggle. Tata'allamu means you learn. What does ta'allam mean? Learn, command. It's already a command. Done. Tu'allimu means you teach. What does allim mean? Teach, that's a command. But I couldn't read jud. And I couldn't use drib. Okay? Couldn't do it. Let's try a few others. Let's see if we can make them work. If I say tastaghfiru, you ask for forgiveness. So what's step 1? What's step 1? Step 1. Thank you. Yep, lightest. Tastaghfir. Step 2. Remove the ta. Say it for me. Staghfir. I mean, you guys already said that. Astaghfirullah. Staghfir. I hear people do their istighfar in very staghfir. Staghfirullah. Okay. What about taqtaribu? Step 1. Taqtarib. Step 2. Oh, I'd love to hear you say this one.
اقترب. اقترب.
Okay. You know what that means? These last words, I couldn't say them when I followed the steps. Yes? Sometimes you have words, when you follow 2 steps, your job is done. Sometimes you have words, you follow 2 steps, your job is not done. When your job is not done, that means the word became handicap. Sjud, drib, staghfir, qtarib became handicap. Okay? When they become handicap, they need a cane. Wait, sorry, in the beginning. You don't put an alif on jahid. Why not? Why not just say ajahid? It doesn't need a cane. No. This is so hard sometimes. Why? Allah. Okay, wait. I will do this. I'm committed. I'm committed. Yes, even though it's black. Okay, it's okay. Okay, now, the problem is there are 3 sounds in Arabic. U, a, and. So it could be usjud, it could be asjud, and it could be isjud. It could be udrib, adrib, or idrib. It could be ustaghfir, istaghfir, or astaghfir. It could be iqtarib, uqtarib, or iqtarib. Which one is, only one of them is right? No. You don't give yourself a headache. I know you really want to give the answer. You don't know. I know. Let me tell you. And after I tell you, you will know. Right now, you don't know. Be comfortable in your ignorance right now. Okay? Let me help you. What happens is, you have to look at the letter that has the sukoon. Which letter is that in sjud? Now listen carefully. Then you look at the second last letter. What's that second last letter? Jim. Now don't jump to the answer. Let me finish what I'm saying. If it has an u, then put an u on the alif. Wait. I'm not done. I got it. If it has an e, I'm going to put an e. If it has an a, I'm going to put an a. I got you. No, you don't. Let me finish. If it has an u, put what? U. If it doesn't have an u, put e. You will never put a. You will only put u or e. When will you put u? The letter right before the sukoon had u. You will put u. If it doesn't have an u, you will put what? How do you say do sajda, the command? Usjud. Usjud. How do you say, tadribu means you hit. How do I say hit? Not adrib. You never say a. Your only 2 options for the alif are u or e. And when do you say u? If you find the u right before the ending. And when do you say e? In every other situation. So, how do I say this one? Idrib. Idrib. What about staghfir? Istaghfir. What about the last one? Okay, let me test you now. Step 1. How do you do it? How do you make it lightest? Tasma. Step 2. Does it need a crutch or no? Okay. I think it's asma. Isma. Why isma? Because it's not u. Yeah, you know u for u, a for a, e for e. That's the shaitan telling you without me speaking. That's why I told you to wait for me. U for u, everything else, e. So this is what? Isma' ya walad. Isma'. Isma'ni. Okay? What about the brothers of Yusuf? Taqtuluna. All of you kill. All of you kill. Ta beginning, una ending. Follow the steps. What's the lightest version of this? Taqtulu. What am I going to get rid of? Okay. What is my last letter? No, no, no. Lam is my last letter. Lam is my last letter. You know why? Because una, ina, ani, those are just add-on. They're add-ons. They're just add-ons. What's my actual last letter? Lam. So what's my actual second last letter? Ta. And what's on the ta? So do I need a crutch? And what should that crutch have? Uqtulu Yusufa. Uqtulu Yusufa. Let's try another one. Tadhakuna. Tadhakuna. Step one. Tadhakuna means all of you laugh. But I want to say, laugh. Tadhaku. Step one. Made it lightest. What else? Oh, I'd love to hear you say this. Dhahaku. Alif or no? Never add alif like always add alif. No, no, no. Add alif when you can't read it at all. So, I added alif. And my question is, where am I going to find its sound from? Because my actual last letter is kaf. Because u and una and ani and ina, those are add-ons, right? They don't count. So kaf is my real last letter. Ha is my actual second last letter. That means it's not u, which means it's got to be idhaku. Idhaku. Laugh. Idhaku. Okay? By the way, I'll go again. Yeah, always second last letter. Tadhakuna. Again. So what? Let it be ta. Tadhakuna. Sorry, tadhakuna. Don't laugh. What was the formula for don't? La plus the... Do you get rid of the ta? Do you do any of that jazz? No, 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 no. So what do? La tadhaku. La tadhaku. Okay. One last one. Okay. Ta beginning and na ending. What does that mean? You ladies help. This means you ladies help. Ta means you. Na makes it ladies. You ladies help. How do I say it? Ladies, help. Step one, make it lightest. Any volunteers? How do you make this lightest? Tansurna, very good. The way you make tansurna lightest is tansurna, which is the way you said it was really like iconic. You said tansurna. Was forever etched. So tansurna, yes, it is already lightest. Step two. Get rid of ta. Nsurna. Do we need a crutch? Okay. Where are you getting the sound from? Why? What's your actual last letter? Unsurna. Unsurna. Okay. Tajlisani. Tajlisani means both of you sit. Both of you sit. But if I say sit, both of you. Sit, both of you. How would I do that? Step one. So make it lightest. Noon's gone. Tajlisa. Step two. Jlisa. Do I need an alif? What am I going to do with this alif? Ijlisa. Sit down, both of you. Both of you, sit. Ijlisa. Okay? Naquluna. Commands. All of you say. Say. Taqulu, lightest. Get rid of the. Do you need alif? Aqulu, you can't say it right now? This is not qulu enough for you? Is it good? Is it good enough? So then it's don't add alif. Qulu. Say it. Qulu. Amanna billahi wa ma unzila ilayna. Okay, how about this one? This is my last one. Taqulu. Taqulu means you say. What does taqulu mean? You say. I want the lightest version. Taqul, but this is not cool because there's two sukoons. That's not cool in Arabic. Okay? So they get rid of the waw. Why do they get rid of the waw? Because you can't do a long sound and a sukoon. Not in Arabic. You can't say taqul. You never see two sukoons together. So who has to go? The waw has to go, and the waw was like, wow, really? Wow. Okay. Taqul. Step 2. هو الله أحد الله الصمد يا أيها الكافرون لا أعبد ما تعبدون قل أعوذ برب الفلق من شر ما خلق قل أعوذ برب الناس ملك الناس قل say that's where it comes from. Allah spoke to Musa and Harun, yes? How many people is that? He said, both of you, when you speak to Fir'aun, both of you speak to him gently. Both of you speak to him gently. How did he command both of you speak? Step 1. Taqula. Then read it. قولا له قولا لينا لعله يتذكر أو أن يخشى. Both of you speak to him gently. Yes, my dear. Rafi, take the mic to him, please. Raise your hand so he sees you. Yeah.
You said it's the second last letter, but could you also say it's the third letter that gives you if you should or
no, you shouldn't say it's the third letter, because sometimes it's not the third letter.
Can you show an example?
Yeah, but they're hard. I don't want to do that. The Tajweed teachers might tell you that's the third letter. They do that sometimes. It works most of the time. It doesn't work all the time, so I don't want to go with that. I want to go with second last real letter. Okay? So, qula. Okay? Let's wrap this up. Rules for commanding, rules for forbidding. Commanding and forbidding. You might not have to write this because I think I've written it for you. Let's see. Yeah, page 49. Go to 49. You see the word forbidding? You see what it says right underneath it? La plus the lightest present tense second person. What does second person mean? You. You. لا تنصر, لا تنصرا, لا تنصروا, لا تنصري, لا تنصرا, لا تنصرنا. The 6. أنت, أنتما, أنتم, أنتي, أنتما, أنتنا. Those 6. Okay? This is the conversion. Lightest, and then lala. تأكلين, لا تأكلي, تتعلمون, لا تتعلموا, تكتبنا, لا تكتبنا. Those are just examples. Then, in commanding, start with the anta version. This one's taking a different direction. It's saying remove the ta first. If the word can be read, leave it alone. Where's the lightest version of this? Oh, yeah. Lightest, yeah. Lightest, then remove the ta. Only add the alif if you can't say the word. And the harakat for the helper alif, that's just how do you know the alif gets a sound? That's not really that important for you because the sounds are all put in the Quran anyway for you. So right now that's not really that important, okay? So let's look at tadhabu. This is tadhabu. Step 1, make it lightest, yeah? Which is what? Tadhab. Step 2, get rid of the ta. Dhhab. Does it need an alif? Yep. Then it becomes idhab. Idhab. And then determine the haraka, idhab. So the steps are all laid out for you. Okay? So, 2 minutes, oh my God. You know 4 properties. Actually, I'll do the review tomorrow, but there are 4 kinds of fi'l for you in this course. There's 4 kinds of fi'l. Past tense, present tense, forbidding, commanding. Okay? There's 4 kinds of fi'l. When you're done with all of your Arabic studies, there'll be 6 kinds of fi'l, meaning 2 more kinds. The passives, which I don't teach in this course, okay? But right now, when you listen in salah, whatever the imam decides to recite, chances are you will hear an ism, you'll hear lots of idafas, you'll hear lots of harf al-jars, you'll probably hear lots of past tenses and present tenses and commands and forbiddings. These are the things this is 90% of what you hear. Over 90% of what you hear is what we've covered, actually. There's very little outside of this that's there in the text. That doesn't mean you understand the Quran, but at least you're familiar with most of what's happening. At a base level, you're familiar. You can recognize, oh, this is happening here, this is happening here, this is happening here, okay? So pay attention to what you hear in the salah. One of the things I want you to do tomorrow, I'll give you a whole plan because our course is coming to an end tomorrow. So I need to give you a plan. And I'm just telling you, the most important days for you are the next 10 days after the course is over. And I've already designed an exam for you that is going to be given to you on the 10th day. Not tomorrow, the next 10th day. So you're spending the next 10 days preparing for that final exam. That's what I want you to do. And I'll give you a plan on how to do that, and then you just take that final exam. That just means you did what I was hoping you would do, meaning you covered your fundamentals and you reviewed them a second time and you're ready to be tested on it. Before you move on to anything else, we got to do that first. That's our 10-day plan. And then we got to have the whole next year plan. Yes. Yes, I will connect you to all the help you need at the Institute. We have a bunch of TAs. There are student groups. There are advanced student groups also that have been studying with me for a couple of years. And they will be accessible to you, so you can send them emails and get your questions answered. I'll give you guidelines on how to ask questions also, because you can't ask like, how do I purify my heart? Send. Don't do that. But yes, the salah has begun. Barakallahu li wa lakum. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.